What is up, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of Touchdown and Ties, the father-daughter sports podcast where she knows ball because he taught her. I'm your co-host, Brianna, the daughter of this duo.
What up, everybody? And I'm Keith, her dad, the other co-host.
In today's episode, we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a bye week. There's no football going on, so we're going to talk about some other things in the sports world. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, please go ahead and click that link down below to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. That way you get updated whenever we upload an episode. And of course, it also helps us out as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into it.
All right, let's do it.
Well, how are you? How's your weekend going?
Slow, very, very slow.
No
that first
football.
weekend when you don't have football is always like slow. It's just like, what do people do on the weekend? What do people really do? Because I can't find anything to do. It's been cold outside, stuck in the house. So it's like there's nothing to watch. I mean, I guess if you want to watch basketball, I guess that's fine.
Yeah.
But, as far as, if you're a football fan,
Right.
waiting 2 weeks for the Super Bowl it takes forever. It just drags on.
Yeah. Sundays are slow. Sundays are so slow.
So are Saturdays. Yeah.
It's Saturdays.
Saturdays are very
you
slow
truly
too,
don't realize like how much it really does give you to do to just sit and watch football. Like having even like throughout the week, like there's nothing coming on Thursday, nothing coming on Monday. Like it just gets to be such a drag. It's like, wow, it's going to be a long time till September.
It literally takes a minute to get used to it. Just like, man, hurry up. You start looking at the calendar, counting down the days. Now that I'm older, football season actually lasts a little bit longer. Like when I was younger, the Super Bowl would be played like maybe about the second week of January.
Wow.
Somewhere around in there. And
That's
so
crazy.
now you would have even longer to wait before the season started. So so at least it's a little bit shorter,
a little
but
bit better. But it's still pretty long.
It's pretty long. How was your weekend?
Yeah. No, it was busy. I had a couple of tennis matches to work this week. So we played USC, UCLA. We beat 4-3, but every day was like 4 or 5 hours. I was like, holy cow. Like my girls are great, but they don't do short matches. They love splitting sets. They love going tie breaks. And it's like
marathons. They play the marathon matches.
They be playing for a long time, but we got it done. It's really good. Like I said, beating UCLA and USC is not a small feat. They're very, very good teams in women's tennis. So it was good. Yeah, they got it done.
That's good. Well, we got to wait another week for a champion to be crowned in the NFL. But this weekend, you're speaking of tennis, we had 2 champions crowned in the land down under with the Australian Open. Did you catch any of those?
Australian Open, yes. I tend to watch it towards the end of it when there's more people that I've heard of. No offense to everybody that's there before, but kind of paying attention to like the more like prime time or those kind of matches. So but no, it was good. It was really, really good. I mean, obviously we saw that Elena was able to get her second Grand Slam title, first in the Australian Open, and then Carlos Alcaraz, youngest to have a career slam, finally.
22 years old,
It's crazy that I feel like it took him a minute to get there as good as he is, but he was able to get it done, so that's good.
Yeah, these 2 people played, 2 players I played, a couple years ago, and Sabalenka beat her, so she was able to come back and get, some kind of revenge against her in this match or whatever. So it was actually a really good match. I mean, it was, I mean, every set went 6-4, I believe it was.
Yeah, 6-4, 3 sets.
Yeah. So it was a really, really good match.
Her and Sabalenka's match was great. Sabalenka was up 3-0 in that third set there, and then Elena just came back and won. Yeah, she rallied and came back. Because it's not like Sabalenka is the easy player to beat whatsoever.
No, she's the number 1 player in the world, number 1 female tennis player in the world. So that was an accomplishment to be able to come back from being down 3-love in that third set. Yeah.
This is her second Grand Slam title, her maiden, as they call it in Australia, and her 10th consecutive win against a top 10 WTA player. And so now she's going to be the world number 3 behind Sabalenka and Iga. So she's up there too. So that's good.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to watch them 2 in the, what's the next one? The French?
The French.
I think
which
it's
is a while from
so,
now. It's not
that's not till May. So they got a little while to go. Yeah. As far as Alcaraz is concerned, I mean, listen, you're probably too young to remember Tiger Woods at his peak, like around the year 2000, somewhere around in there. I think we could be looking at the same thing with this guy as far as being as dominant in tennis as Tiger was in golf. I mean, this guy's incredible. He's 22 years old, the youngest guy to complete a career slam. And he's the youngest guy to do it. So his trajectory is like this. And I think the only thing that's stopping this guy would be injury. I mean, if he stays healthy, I mean, the record right now is 24 with Djokovic. And much credit to him. I mean, 38 years old, and he's still making finals at Grand Slams. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, pushing 40.
If Carlos stays healthy, I think he's going to break that record. So
Yeah.
if this guy stays healthy, man, I just don't see anybody being able to stop him. I mean, he's
Yeah, other than
incredible.
center, that's, the 2 that we really
That's his
look at is
rival.
just yeah, it's just
Yeah.
Alcaraz and center, and I think we talked about this a while back when maybe over the summer
Mhm.
during what was it, Wimbledon we were watching together? I don't remember what
It
we were
was the
or
French, was it?
was it
I think it was the
I
French
think it was
Open.
Roland, yeah, I think it was actually Roland Garros, we were watching that together, and it was that crazy, crazy match, and he was down 5-4,
Yeah, that
40-11,
was
he
the
still came
French.
back to
Yeah.
win. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Roland Garros,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
we were sitting there thinking that for a while there before, Djokovic had came along, it was
Mm.
just Federer and Nadal,
Yeah.
it was just those 2, and then Djokovic came along, so it makes me wonder who is gonna be that 3rd person, if there will be,
Mhm.
that's gonna come along and join Alcaraz in center because
Yeah.
Zverev can never get past Sinner,
Yeah.
Alcaraz, Djokovic, and
Yeah.
he gets to finals, he gets to semifinals, but
Quarterfinals.
9 times
Yeah.
out of 10, he's gonna play one of them to have to
Yeah.
get over that hump, and I feel for him because he can never get past them,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It's tough. I mean, because you figure, I mean, at least coming into this tournament, I think Djokovic was like the number 4 ranked
Something like
guy.
that.
I think
Yeah.
he's seeded number 4 at
Seeded
least.
number 4, yeah.
So, again, he's 38 years old and he's still like in the top, the upper echelon of
Mhm.
tennis. And, this was actually the first time Djokovic lost at an Australian Open final. He had come into this, I think he had won
No!
like 10-0. Yeah, his first time he lost was today
Wow,
against
that's a stat.
yeah, against Alcaraz. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know
know who
he's
that
won
third guy's
10
gonna be.
Australian Opens, but I didn't know that it
Yeah.
was like he's
10-0 in finals.
every one that he went, he never lost. Wow, that's
Yep, until
impressive.
until this one, until this one. He
Wow.
started out
Okay.
well in this match. That first set, he looked great
Yeah.
in that first set. I think he won that first set 6-2, but
Mhm.
then after that, reality set in
Yeah.
because Alcaraz, 22 years old,
Yeah.
very athletic. He has every shot in the book. You
Mhm.
can't get anything past this guy. He just took over the match. And I mean,
Yeah.
both of these guys played 5 setters in the semifinals.
Yeah.
And it caught up with Djokovic in this
Yeah.
match because after that first set, it was
Yeah.
just formality at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
Carlos just
Yeah.
dominated him.
And honestly,
But
like
yeah, it was cool.
it kinda can go either way in tennis too, because we talked about how Djokovic, he had 2 walkovers in this Grand Slam, but Carlos
Yeah,
Alcaraz, he played through all of them. I wanna
right.
say that that last match that Carlos Alcaraz played before this one, he had a little bit of an injury. It
Mhm.
could have been cramping, but there was something going on with his leg. I don't remember if they
Right.
clarified or not. So he had
Mhm.
some kind of ailment that was going on, but then Djokovic really didn't play for 2 of those matches again because he had a walkover. So I feel like in tennis,
Right.
that can either be an advantage or a disadvantage because the other
Right.
guy, body is tired. He's been playing all
Mhm.
these 3 sets, 4 sets, long matches, the long game, and then you
Yeah.
just walk over. So either he's tired and he's not gonna make it
Yeah.
through, or like you're really fresh, or you might be rusty. So it really can
Yeah.
go either way in tennis, honestly.
Yeah. I think that 16-year age gap made the difference in this match. And it's
Yeah.
hot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was
Land
hot
Down Under
there,
in February.
Yeah. So I just think
Yeah.
that 16-year age gap just made the difference in this match. I mean,
Yeah.
he gave all he had in that first set.
Yeah.
Tried to keep it close a little bit there in that fourth set or whatever, but it was
Mhm.
over at that point. You already
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
that it was over. I mean, he made a lot of unforced errors. I think he had,
Mhm.
I don't know the exact number, maybe about 40, 45 unforced errors in the
Mhm.
match. I just think he got tired.
Yeah.
He just got tired, just warmed down. But you go for Carlos, man. Watch out for
Yeah.
him. Again, I know you said center is the guy right now. I think last year he won 2 and Carlos
Mhm.
Alcaraz won 2.
Mhm. They
But you
split it
figure even at
evenly.
22, he's winning 2 Grand Slams every year. You know
And
what I
say
mean?
he 38,
Eh,
39 years old. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. Hey, by the
yeah.
time he's 30, he'll have 20.
Yeah.
He
I
already has
know.
7. So if he
Yes.
just
Yeah.
won 2 more for the next 8 years, what's that,
Yeah.
16?
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I
I
was
mean, that's
looking at
16 more on top of the ones that he already have.
yeah,
So he
that's
had
true.
23 by the age of 30. But again,
Mhm.
anything can happen. He could
Right.
get hurt. A third guy could come along, like how we talked about earlier. You
Yeah.
never know. But right now, it's looking like this guy's not going to be going away anytime soon.
And I was looking at too, just like previous Australian Open Grand Slam
Hmm.
winners, and it's like once you get to 2004, it was just those 3, the
Yeah.
big 3 just
Yeah.
dominating. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Holy cow." It was like maybe one person here and there every
Yeah.
couple of years, and that's not looking at the 4 Grand Slams that happened throughout the year. I'm pretty sure
Right.
there were years where it's just those 3 was just taking everything, and then Sinner
Yeah.
and, Alcaraz have been doing that here in recent years. It's
Yeah.
just crazy to see that kind of dominance from those 3
Hmm.
people, and for someone who didn't understand tennis or really get into tennis until I started working it. It's crazy
Yeah.
that I never really even, like, heard of these guys or heard
Yeah.
of these women before. Like I said, other than like Serena Williams and Venus Williams, and then Naomi Osaka when she came along, Coco Gauff, we can kind of see a trend here.
Yeah.
I didn't know tennis players like that, so it's just crazy to
Yeah.
see that kind of dominance for all these years.
I mean, I guess you can say in a way maybe women's tennis is a little bit more competitive because the
Yes,
Grand Slam winners are spread out more,
yeah, it
but
changes.
as far as like the men are concerned, like you said, starting like maybe around 2004, those three guys we talked about, Federer,
Mhm.
Nadal, and Djokovic won like 65, 66 Grand
Something
Slams
crazy.
combined. It's just
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah. So they were winning, one of those three were winning every freaking major,
yeah,
or Grand
yeah,
Slam, I guess they call it in tennis.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, so we'll
yeah,
see. I mean,
yeah.
Alcaraz is on that track, man. I think he could
Mhm.
be one of the greatest of all time if he stays healthy.
Let's talk about Michigan basketball because
Yeah,
Michigan is the basketball school now of the Big Ten. 20-1 is their record, and they have beat,
20.
in this past week, they beat number 5 Nebraska and number 7 Michigan State. And I know we talked about this a little bit with Nebraska. I didn't watch the game, but I did go back and watch the highlights. They did play pretty bad. And I hate
They
to
did.
say that
Yeah,
you
they
wanna
did.
call a
Yeah,
win lucky. I think they got kinda
yeah.
lucky.
They, but that's a sign of a good team. I mean, because I
Yeah.
think they had like 19, 20 turnovers or something in that
Mhm.
game. They
Mhm.
couldn't hit a 3-point shot, and yet they still found a way the last 3, 4 minutes of that game to
Yeah.
come back and win that game. I thought they had lost the game because they were just playing
100%.
horrible the whole game. They couldn't
Yeah.
get anything going because of the turnovers. They couldn't establish any type of rhythm. And then all of a sudden, they made a few shots, and next thing you know, they went from being down like 5, 6 points to being up like 2 or 3 points. And it's
Like
just
the
like,
last minute
wow.
of the game. It was like a minute and
Yeah,
4 seconds left. I was like, "Holy
yeah,
cow." Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
sign of a good team that you can win when you're not playing your best.
playing your best. Yeah, playing
Yeah,
your best.
you
And then the
know.
Michigan State game, that was on the road, East
Mhm.
Lansing, 83-71, and they had the lead for majority of that game. MSU came quite close in that second half. The offense kinda opened up a bit more because similar to
Mm.
Michigan against Nebraska, Michigan State was not getting anything going against Michigan, but that lead lasted for, like, 1 possession, and then Michigan came back and was like, "No."
Michigan dominated the first half. Michigan looked like they were not gonna be stopped in that first half. I think going into halftime, they were up 16 points, 17 points, something like that. They were just clicking on all cylinders. I mean, that offense looked beautiful, and then the second half started and they couldn't make anything. Michigan State turned the defense up a little bit,
Yeah.
turned up their intensity, got back into the game and actually took the lead, like you said, for a possession there. Then, Michigan settled down a little bit and hit a few shots and,
Mhm.
you know, kind of like walked away with the game. It's a 12-point game, but it didn't really feel like, it was a 12-point game. It felt like it was closer than that. But it was the first time that Michigan had beaten Michigan State at the Breslin Center since I think 2018, maybe somewhere around in there. It had been like eight
So
years since they
Beeline
had won a
years?
game. Yeah, it had been about 8 years since they won a game at the Breslin Center or something like
Wow,
that.
because
And I
wasn't
think they had
2018
lost.
the year that they went
That's the
to
year they went to the finals. That's when they
yeah,
played
we went,
Villanova
right?
in the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
right. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that
yeah.
was the last time they beat Michigan State at the Breslin Center. It was
Wow.
2018.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a big win. Did you catch Dusty May at the
Yeah,
beginning of
that
the
look
game? How he just
sitting
came
there
out
like
and
that,
the
yeah, yeah, that was
crowd was
crazy,
booing him. That was pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
people
that was
people
pretty.
throw the word "aura" around now a lot, but that was
Yeah,
aura. That was pretty clean. That
yeah,
was
that was
cool.
pretty cool. And he was smiling. He was loving it.
Yeah, he knew
Yeah,
what he
he
was
was loving
doing.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
So
was
that's
really
pretty cool.
cool.
So
Yeah.
it was a big week. I think Michigan so far this season, I think they've played maybe 5 or 6 ranked teams, and they've beat them all. They beat them all. I was looking at the standings or the rankings here. The top 4 teams are Arizona, Connecticut, Michigan, and Duke. That would be a crazy Final Four
Final
there.
Four. It's
That'd be
it's so
crazy
crazy
Final
to hear
Four.
Michigan
Yeah.
up there with, basketball schools like UConn and Duke, like, that's it, and
Yeah.
they've been there before, obviously, right, because they've had runs, obviously, way back with Trey Burke, again, like I said, in 2018 with Beeline, so they've been here before, but
Right.
it's
It's
just
been a
great, and
minute.
yeah, it's been a minute, and it's
It's been a
exciting,
minute. Yeah.
because it would be nice, I would love for 1 year for the football
Hmm.
team and the basketball team to be good, that would just be
Yeah.
crazy, but it seems like it's either one or the other for
One or the
Michigan, it's
other. Yeah.
never in the same year, so
Yeah. Michigan
might be
plays
having
Duke here in about 3 more weeks, I think.
Really?
At
I didn't
the
know they
end
played.
of February, I believe, they go to Cameron and play Duke.
Mm.
So that should be a really good
Ooh,
game.
that's a good game. I didn't know that. I had to mark
Yeah.
my
They
calendar on
taking a
that
break
one.
from the Big Ten schedule and they're going to
Right.
play Duke on the
Yeah.
road. That's going to be
That's a crazy
interesting.
game. Yeah.
Be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I expect
Yeah.
Michigan to still be keeping up with themselves. And obviously Duke basketball is Duke basketball. So
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny because by the time you really start paying attention, if you're in football like we are,
Mhm.
by the time you really start paying attention to college basketball, the season is
Season
almost
is
over.
over. Yeah, it's February. I was
It's
looking at
February.
that
They
because
only
I was like,
have
"Okay, cool,
10
like,
more games to go,
football
something like
season's
that.
over, yeah, Imma start watching the
Yeah.
basketball games." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, basketball season started in November."
Yeah,
It's like,
it
the
did.
season is more than halfway over. March
Yeah, it's
Madness is
almost
next
over
month.
with.
It's
At
like
least the regular season is almost over with, right? I
like
mean, yeah, it's
yeah,
only 10 more regular season games to go,
yeah.
and you're just not really starting to pay attention to it.
Attention,
So,
yeah, these fools done played
yeah.
21 games, and I'm over
They
here,
done
"Oh, let's talk
played
about Michigan
21 games,
basketball."
yeah.
Season is
Now I'll
over
pay
with,
attention
girl.
to it, and the season's almost over,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, you
exactly.
kinda you gloss at
Yeah,
it a little bit,
we talked
you
about it
know?
before, we've looked at a
Yeah,
few
you watch a
games,
little bit, but
yeah,
you're
but
not
football
hyper
season's
focused on it
there.
just yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's the same thing in the NBA. I mean, I don't really
mhm.
start watching the NBA until after the All-Star break,
Their
if I even
season is
watch it
all
then.
year. Their season
Yeah,
is literally all year. These fools are not done until June. I have
till
time.
June. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
and the problem with, I used to be a really big NBA fan, and I still like the NBA, don't get me
mhm.
wrong, but it's just different than how it used to be. I mean, the guys don't wanna play.
Play, yeah,
They don't take it serious. They do this load management thing where, they don't wanna play because they don't play too many games in a row.
yeah.
They have the
Which is
slightest
a
little
thing,
injury and they don't
but
play. It's really not. I mean, if you grew up watching the basketball in the '80s like I did, these guys played every single
single
night.
game.
And
Yeah,
they wasn't
okay.
flying on private jets and staying in five-star
Mm,
hotels, right? They would fly commercial with everybody else, playing 4 games in 5 nights, and they played every game unless they were hurt, like really, really
yeah,
hurt. But nowadays, just since these guys don't really take it too serious, it's kinda hard for me to sit and watch a game when everybody just shoot three-pointers all the time, so the game has just changed a little bit,
it's
and I
just
get that's
different.
just how it's played, but
Yeah,
so with that being said, I'll start watching the NBA after March Madness.
right. Oh, wow.
After
Jeez,
March Madness,
yeah,
yeah.
you waiting
Because then
for
they'll
a
start
minute.
taking it serious because now they getting ready for their
Right, for
playoffs to start,
postseason,
and
yeah,
they'll start taking a little bit more serious. I mean, I pay attention to it, don't get me wrong, but to sit
yeah,
down and watch a game from beginning to end,
yeah,
I won't do that until after March Madness.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
both our teams in the state of Michigan in terms of basketball are doing well. Pistons are doing
they are.
well, Wolverines are doing well, so
Yeah,
might have a nice little playoff season for basketball for us because the
yeah. The
Wolverines
Red
hold the
Wings are doing well
Lions.
too.
That
The
oh, I
Red
don't watch
Wings are in
hockey.
first place. Yeah, I know you don't watch hockey, but I'm
I
just
don't watch
saying,
hockey at all.
if you're from the city of Detroit right now, you got something to pay
Something
attention
to
to.
cheer for. Yeah,
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 the Red Wings haven't made the playoffs in, like, maybe 10 years, 11 years,
yeah.
something like that, so hopefully they'll do it this year.
There we go. Let's get back on track with football. We do have a couple of things to talk about that we wanna touch on that happened
Mm,
throughout the week. Biggest thing is just surrounding all the hoopla with the coaches. There were a lot of vacancies this season with head coaching positions, and a lot of
mhm.
these teams have now filled those positions. So we're just gonna, like, go down the list and just quick little opinions. What do you think? Okay,
Okay,
so
alright.
the Bills, they promoted their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. This offers some continuity to the team, and he was offensive coordinator for 3 seasons. Do you think that was a good decision by them to promote him?
You said it just for the continuity reason of it, I
Yeah.
think it made sense. I'm pretty sure that, Josh Allen probably had a lot of input in that. He wanna
Mhm.
keep this guy around because he's been working with him for a few years now. So, I mean, I'm all for guys who they paid their dues, so to speak, right? This
Right.
this guy's not somebody who was a head coach once before, now he's getting another opportunity. This is his first opportunity. He was the offensive coordinator for a while, and now he's getting an opportunity to be the head coach. So, I think it's good for him. I think it'll be okay. Having that continuity and that familiarity with Josh Allen and vice versa, I think it'll be good for him.
Steelers with Mike McCarthy. Has he been a head coach since he left the Cowboys? Like, okay, but what
That
has
was
he been
only last
doing?
he only sat out for 1 year.
1 year. Okay, okay. Because I was like, where has he been this whole entire time? And I was reading
Yeah,
a couple articles, and they were saying that he has 1 Super Bowl win, that was a long time ago. He doesn't have a lot of deep playoff runs, and his win record is roughly 61%. And what the articles were saying is that that's not too far off from what the Steelers had with Mike Tomlin. And not that
right.
they fired Mike Tomlin left on his own volition, but if you're trying to get over the hump, make deeper runs in the playoffs and things like that, is Mike McCarthy the best hire?
The guy's a good coach. I mean, he does have a Super Bowl under his belt when he was with Green Bay. The Cowboys had some winning seasons with him as well. They
Yeah.
just didn't win in the playoffs. I really don't have anything bad to say about the hire. I think he'll do okay in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to be their quarterback next year,
Mhm.
but as far as McCarthy has been the head coach, I mean, he's decent. I mean, he's not a
Yeah.
bad coach.
Yeah.
61%. I mean, I'm a Detroit Lion fan, bro. I mean, so if they've had coaches that had a 61%,
Yeah.
winning percentage, I'd be happy. This is
All
probably
right.
his last opportunity, though. I mean, this is your
Yeah.
third opportunity as being a head coach. This is probably the last opportunity that he will have.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes for him.
Hmm.
Giants on Harbaugh, I feel like that was the best outcome for them was to get John Harbaugh.
I guess.
I feel like there's differing opinions about John Harbaugh. Like some people like him, some people don't. Some people think he's a good coach, some people think that he's not. But like objectively, he's only had 3 losing seasons in his 18 years with the Ravens, and the
Right.
Giants suck. That looks like a silver lining for them, I feel like.
He's a guy, obviously. That's all I can say about John Harbaugh. He's a guy.
Mhm.
He's not a bad coach. Like you said, he's only had 3 losing seasons in 18 years when he was at Baltimore.
Yeah,
So, I mean, good for
that's it.
them.
Okay.
Good for them. I
Okay.
think he'll be okay.
Okay.
I don't
I'm
think he's
picking.
gonna be bad. I think he'll be okay, but, good
Okay.
for him.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down, so we're gonna move on. Jesse Minter to the Ravens. This man was with Michigan for some time, and then he
He
went
was.
to be the defensive coordinator over the Chargers. He did great there, and now he's
Yeah.
the head coach of the Ravens.
And think about how crazy that is. Michigan had Jim Harbaugh,
Mm.
Jesse Minter, and Mike McDonald on their
Yeah, and look
staff.
how all these people are so
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike McDonald's the coach of Seattle is about to go to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl here. So
Mhm.
I'm actually excited to see Jesse Minter as a
Me
head coach.
too. Yeah.
I think he's going to be really good in
Yeah.
Baltimore. He's a defensive minded coach. The Ravens have been known over the years to be a really good defensive team. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to see, I should say, just how he's going to mesh with Lamar Jackson and how he's
Yeah.
going to reshape their defense. I'm happy for Jesse. I'm glad that he's
Yeah.
getting this opportunity in Baltimore.
Yeah, me too. I agree with that. I was actually really excited to see that one. All right, the Atlanta Falcons with Kevin
Yeah.
Stefanski. I saw Cam Newton because everybody's talking about the lore with him and Shador Sanders and all that kind of stuff, and they said that it's ironic that he basically went to the HBCU of the NFL because now he is
Yeah, I
down
saw
in
that.
it.
Yeah,
He's down
I
in
saw that.
Atlanta, and there's still a quarterback situation to navigate in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
he's all too familiar with that situation, so I guess he's gonna figure it out. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm glad I'm not an Atlanta Falcon fan. I think Stefanski won Coach of the Year maybe twice,
He
once or
did.
twice when he was with
Mhm.
Cleveland. So I guess he's a decent head coach. I just didn't like the way the whole Shador Sander thing
Right.
happened. So I guess for me, that's how I'm looking at it. It's like, good luck, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Glad he's not my coach, but he might be a good coach. I don't know. He might do
Yeah.
well. Maybe
Yeah.
he just needed to get out of Cleveland. So
Yeah.
good for them.
Yep, good for them. All right, moving on. Miami Dolphins, Jeff Hafley. I had never heard of this guy. 2 seasons as the Packers
Mhm.
defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the extent of what I know about him, simply
Yeah.
because the Packers, they play the Lions a couple times a
Right.
year, so I hear his name a lot. But
Yeah.
again, just like with
Brady.
Joe Brady, yeah, here's an
Yeah.
assistant coach, get an opportunity, his first opportunity to be a head coach. I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him just to see what he can do. I'm not a Dolphins fan, but again, I like to see these guys get their opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't like when the same coaches just keep getting
Keep
hired for
getting
different
it's like
jobs.
going
You know what I
around.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I
I
see
mean,
what
I
you're saying.
yeah, I mean, I get, you work one job and then you get a second job. I get
Mhm.
that. That's fine. Like with Andy Reid, he left Philadelphia, then he went to
Right.
Kansas City. I get that. But, we already talked about like the Mike McCarthy situation. I mean, this is now
Mhm.
his third job.
Yeah.
So I would rather see somebody who hasn't had a job as a head
Right.
coach get a job, get an opportunity before somebody who's getting their third opportunity. I mean,
Yeah.
you understand what I'm
Yeah, no,
saying?
I completely
So,
understand what you're saying.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I'm happy for this guy. We'll see what he does
Okay.
in Miami.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, I always say this man's name wrong.
Mhm.
The Tennessee Titans, they hired
Oh,
Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh.
Saleh. See, I
Robert Saleh,
always say
yeah.
his name wrong. The
So
Tennessee Titans hired Robert Saleh. So he was a head coach back at the Jets, and he went 20-36 was his overall record. Then he went back
yeah,
to SF as their defensive coordinator, and they did extremely, extremely well. And so now he is going with the Titans. I kind of
yeah.
wonder is this going to be akin to a Mike Vrabel situation. In
Mhm.
his first year, he's doing really well with New England, and now his first year with the Titans, is he going to do well? And it also made me think about when we were talking about how there's no easy games in the NFL, and you look at the Lions schedule and they're playing a fourth place schedule and it should be easy, but then all of a sudden the Titans are good next year. I was
Right,
like, ooh, are they going to be good now because they got the new head
right.
coach?
Yeah. Robert Saleh is actually from Dearborn, Michigan.
Is he really? I didn't know
He's
that.
from Dearborn, Michigan,
It's
yeah.
close.
When he got hired, this was funny to me. When he got hired, they had a picture of him and his family
Hmm.
at the press conference or whatever, taking a picture. Hey, this is our new coach. And I saw all these people. I'm like, who are these people? And I looked it up. This man has 8
His kid.
kids.
It's his
I
kid.
was like,
It is his.
This
Yes.
dude has 8 kids. I'm like, "Wow, you needed that
Yeah.
job, bro. You needed that
I was
job.
like,
My goodness.
8.
Beautiful family."
Beautiful
But I'm
family.
like, this dude got 8 kids? I'm like,
Yes.
"My goodness, he don't
And
look
they're
that
all, like,
old."
relatively young-ish. They're not
Yeah.
the oldest one may be, like, if I had to guess, maybe 15, you
15,
know?
teenager, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
teenager, yeah, his kids are young. I'm like, "Man,
They're
dude,
very
8?"
young.
I
I
said,
thought it
"I
was
could."
AI generator or something. I'm like, "Man, that can't be
Mm-mm.
real."
Those are all his
And then
kids.
I looked it up. I was like, "Wow, those are all his kids. He got 8
Yeah,
kids. Good for
yeah.
him." As far as him being a coach, I think he'll be okay. This is his second opportunity.
Yep.
He coached the Jets, didn't end well with New York, didn't really have any
Yeah.
success when he was with the Jets.
But we see how the Jets are, so I don't think that's, like, a direct
Right,
reflection of
right,
him. Yeah,
right. So hopefully it'll be different for him in Tennessee. He'll have some success there.
yeah. Alright, last but not least, not a head coaching job, but the Detroit Lions hired their offensive coordinator. How do you feel about that hire?
Drew Petzing, I think is
Petzing,
his
yeah,
name.
Drew Petzing.
Yeah. To be fair, 5 years ago, most of us had never heard of Ben Johnson either. So I'm going to give this guy a chance. I mean, I hadn't heard of him because I don't follow Arizona Cardinal football, right?
Right.
But, back in 2024, they had one of the best rushing offenses in the league, and if nothing else, the Lions are a run first team. So people will point to, he didn't have success in Arizona, but, look at the personnel. His
Yeah, look at the
personnel in
talent
Detroit will
around
be
him.
better than the personnel that he had in Arizona. Not saying anything bad about the Cardinals or anything like that,
Mhm.
but, Jared Goff, Jameer Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Yeah,
J-Mo, all these guys, your personnel is going to be better.
way stronger.
So,
Mhm.
he was able to do pretty decent with Arizona under the circumstances that he had. Kyler Murray got hurt this year. James Conner got hurt this year. They bought in, they back up Jacoby Brissett in the second half of the
Mhm.
season, and he actually put up some
He's actually
numbers,
pretty decent, yeah, did decently
in the
well.
second half of the season. So was he the guy that everybody thought the Lions were going to get? Everybody was
No,
talking about Mike McDaniel,
McDaniel.
Kafka guy in New York, who the Lions also added to their staff, ironically,
Oh,
a few
okay.
days ago.
What's his role?
They haven't really defined it yet.
Okay,
He'll be something to do with the offense,
okay.
but they haven't really defined that role yet. Is he going to be a
Mhm,
co-offensive coordinator with Petzing? I
mhm,
don't know. They haven't really come out and said it yet. But to get both of those guys, because Kafka was one of the guys that people thought the Lions would go after to be the offensive coordinator, the full-time offensive coordinator, but
mm,
they went with Drew instead, and now they bring in Kafka to play some role. I don't know if he's going to
right.
be the quarterback's coach, co-offensive coordinator. All I know is that he will be involved in the offense.
Yeah,
And so
okay.
I think having both of those guys in the building is going to be great for the Lions because again, they're going to bring that run first mentality. That's what the Lions they hang their hat on that. They
Right.
use the run to set up the pass. Now the only
Mhm.
thing that separated the Lions last year from when they had Ben Johnson's or whatever, you didn't see any of the trick plays, right?
Yeah,
That Ben
all the
Johnson used
flashy
with the
stuff that
Lions.
Ben
You see
Johnson
all
had
of
a
that
lot,
because the Lions
yeah.
offense was still pretty decent
It
for
just wasn't
most
the,
of the
like,
season.
exciting, like, unpredictable offense that we were used to the past few
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, it wasn't as flashy,
Yeah,
but they still had like a top 5, top 6 offense in NFL, and you will take
yeah,
that. And that's
100%.
with, Dan Campbell calling plays, pretty much for the whole second
Mhm.
half of the season. Well, now,
Right.
hopefully next year, with
He
these 2
can
guys that he's brought in, he's not gonna have to do that.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I'm excited to see it. Like I said,
yeah,
I'm not gonna look at it and go like, "Man, who is this guy? I don't know who he is," because I didn't know who Ben Johnson was when they was
yeah.
talking about him either. So,
Yeah, and apparently Drew Petzing and Ben Johnson are friends, so they were just saying that
yeah,
there could be some similarities in their coaching
yeah,
styles and things like I mean, friendship to how you coach is not synonymous, but they were just saying
no.
they're associated with each other, but
I think he has some of the same philosophies
yeah, like coaching
that Ben
philosophies, yeah,
Johnson has or whatever. So I mean, I think that's something that appealed to Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes because you
yeah,
don't have to change too much of your offense, too much of your offensive philosophy, I should say.
okay,
So I think that appealed to them. So we'll see. I didn't think the hire of Johnny Morton was going to be bad, and it was. So you just never know. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You just
yeah,
never really know.
yeah,
On the surface, it looked like it's going to work out because they share the same philosophies or whatever. But until they start playing the games,
yeah,
you
we
just
don't
never
know.
know.
Yeah,
You just never
yeah.
know.
Well, we got some time to figure it out and to find out because again, long, long time during the off season, so
Yeah. Yeah, there was one more coaching hire that we missed. It was Clint Kubiak.
Oh, yeah, that was
He got
today.
the Raiders job, and Clint Kubiak is currently the offensive coordinator of
Yeah,
Seattle.
Seattle. That'll be good, especially if
So,
they bring in Fernando Mendoza. You're gonna need somebody to help develop
yeah,
him. I mean, please don't let that talent go to waste, child.
yeah.
I mean,
I
the
mean,
best
if
the best players always go to the worst teams in the league, so it
right,
happens, but Jesus
right.
Christ.
And if you're a Seattle fan, you just hope the distraction
Yeah.
doesn't interfere with the big game next week,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people in Detroit kind of felt that way last year
Mhm.
going into the playoffs. We had the bye week, and Aaron Glenn interviewing for jobs, Ben
Yeah.
Johnson interviewing for jobs, and
Yeah.
it seemed like it affected the Lions in that
Yeah.
game against the Commanders. So because these guys had already had games lined up. So if you're a Seattle fan, hopefully that doesn't happen to you all, and this guy
Yeah.
is focused on the task at hand, which I think he will
I
be.
think
Still
Seattle has this
gotta,
on lock. I
yeah.
think.
I don't
I
know.
think
You just never know,
you
man.
never know,
I
but
think Seattle will win the game, but I think it'll probably be a decent game
yeah.
because the Patriots play good defense.
Yeah, they play great defense,
Anytime you
yeah.
can play good defense, you can keep yourself in the games. I think, then I guess there's been some question with Drake may being hurt a little bit. He hasn't
Hmm.
practiced a lot this week. So,
Oh,
but
that would
again,
suck.
it would suck. I still
Oh,
think he's going to play.
I
I
hope so.
definitely think he will play, but
Yeah.
I think it'll be a decent game, but I think
Yeah.
Seattle will win. I think I
Yeah.
said that last week. I think they'll win.
All right, well, that's all I got for our little bye-week coverage this week. Do you have anything else to add?
That was it, man. A little potpourri of sports there. I mean, we
Yeah.
covered quite a few things
Like,
there.
yeah,
So,
some cool things. It's gonna be
yeah,
a task week to week trying to figure out what it is to talk about during the off
yeah.
season. So we'll brush up on our knowledge of some other things. You're way more versed than I am, but we'll get it going. It'll be
That
good.
just means I'm older. That's all that is. I'm just older.
I think our biggest advice clearly is that we just need to learn how to pronounce people's names.
I
No
know, right?
disrespect. We
I
gotta
know,
get better at this name because it's a
right?
little rough.
Yeah, you don't have that in football because most of the guys have easy names to pronounce. But
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
start talking about these global sports,
Yes.
it becomes a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, 100%. European names be
Hmm.
kicking me, like, I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this episode up here. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. Of course, if you haven't already, please go ahead and click that link down below. That way you can follow us wherever you listen to podcasts, get updated whenever we upload an episode, and of course, it also helps us out as well. All right, we will catch you guys in the next one.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Stay here till we get back.